As a quick introduction about me, I am Paris and a huge cloud-native enthusiast. I spend a lot of my time to building up a cloud-native education platform. I believe it's very important to educate more people in the cloud-native community so they can pass more CNCF exams. For that, I have building a website called Astrona. Today, I will show you how I moved from the automation as script to automation as architecture. We all automate because manual processes do not scale. It doesn't scale in restricted or air-gapped environment. So I will show you how I bootstrap Kubernetes from day 0 and how I use the Flux and GitOps for the day 2 and let Git own the cluster lifecycle. Not just the deployment, but everything. So let's start with something we all share together. We love all automation. At some point, every team ends up to automate their Kubernetes cluster. We automate the deployment of manifest, we automate the Helm charts, and we automate our environments. So we automate a lot to reduce the manual processes. We do that because we quickly learn the same lesson. Manual processes do not scale. It doesn't scale across the environment. It doesn't scale across teams, and it definitely doesn't scale across the consistency, security, and repeatability. When you reach the point and you get more than one cluster in your environment, or you maybe get more than one environment, and where you need more than one engineer to help for deploying to the production environment, then you realize you need to automation to avoid the human mistakes. But not all of us are run Kubernetes with full internet access. Sometimes we have to automate our processes in an air-gapped environment, which means you don't have internet, SaaS product, or any other shortcut. Once you operate in a restricted or air-gapped environment, automation stops being something you just add later when you get the time. At this point, it's not optional anymore. It's changed how you architect your platform, how you distribute your artifact, how you manage your dependencies, and how you're going to bootstrap your cluster. And this is where many automation approaches starting to break down. They assume internet access, external dependencies, and systems that can change over time. And when those assumptions just disappear, the system will fail. GitOps isn't a model you can choose, but using Flux is interesting because it's running inside your cluster. There are no external control planes, no SaaS dependencies, and still works when the network is disappear. It keeps your cluster aligned with Git always, not just during the deployment, not just inside the pipeline, but every time. Git becomes the source of truth. When something is changed, Flux will reconcile it. When the cluster is restarted, Flux restores the desired state. And even in an air-gapped environment, Flux still works because you control the source. This is how the most of us meet the Flux for the first time. You bootstrap the cluster, running the CLI at once, and then you're feeling good. It's fast, it's simple, and it's perfect for learning how Flux is working. But this approach only works while you're small. After some time, you hit the limit of this approach, because bootstrapping one cluster from your laptop is not how platforms scaling at all. And that's where automation stops being optional and starting to being a requirement. And once you accept that, the questions change from how do I install this to how I make it run it itself. The next step for me was to automate this part completely. Instead of running Flux by the CLI, I moved it to the community edition of the Helm chart. Now the installation of Flux itself is automated, and in my case, often driven by Ansible. When you start installing Flux with automation, you're not longer just using GitOps, you're turning GitOps into the self-management. Flux isn't a tool you run anymore, it's something that runs your cluster. These steps matter for a few key reasons. It gives you the repeatable installs by using infrastructure as code. Every cluster starts the same way, no snowflakes. It fits really well into restricted and air-gapped environments, no manual steps, and no laptops are involved anymore. But even this has limit. because once the cluster is running for real, you start caring about upgrades, health, and the life cycle of the platform. And that's where this approach begins to hurt. This is where lifecycle awareness is becoming a requirement, because at scale, you can't manage what you can't see. When you start running Flux at scale, observability and lifecycle management stop to being a nice to have. They become critical. You need to know, is your Flux healthy? Is it upgrading safely? And is it doing what you expect to do over time? Classic Flux is powerful, but the awareness usually live outside Flux. And that's the point where things are starting to hurt. I think it's okay, we sometimes need a superhero to solve the problems. And this is where, Flux operators come into the picture. It's still the same Flux engine. Nothing about the core model has changed. What changes the lifecycle awareness, health, upgrade, and visibility is not longer things you build around Flux. They are built into it. And a huge thanks for the Flux operator community for making this possible. Flux stops being something we install once. It will become a platform component into the cluster. The operators doesn't replace Flux. It gives Flux the first-class lifecycle. When Flux is running, the rules are changed. Flux doesn't care what is reconciled. If it's in Git, Flux will own it. Infrastructure definitions, platform services, and application workloads. This is the part that really matters. Flux doesn't just deploy things, it will enforce your architecture over time. And when you realize that, Git stopping being just a delivering mechanism, this is where the Flux stopping being a deployment tool and will become a bootstrap engine. What this gives you is a unified lifecycle, and the lifecycle works even in an air-gapped environment. Every step in this flow exists for a reason, to automate something. Ansible creates the cluster using the configure as code. Infrastructure, your virtual machines, networking, the base OS, everything defined in code. This is where the cluster is coming to life. And then Flux will take over the cluster lifecycle. It will keep the things in the desired state. It rolling out the upgrades. It brings the cluster back when something is changed. Everything after the day zero will now become automated. When you start thinking about the platform in this way, GitOps stops being a choice. It will become an operation model. GitOps isn't just about deploying application. It's about taking ownership of your Kubernetes lifecycle from the very first node to the very last workload. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paris. Questions? Any questions? All right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned air-gapped environments, because we know for a fact that Flux is being used in the most air-gapped and most mission-critical environments on the planet. So thank you for bringing it up.
You're welcome.
Thanks again.